Hey guys. Okay, this is so social media manager of me, but I wanted to post a little intro video, like a little introduction for the podcast, chalanting, and kind of just talk about like why I started this and like what the name is about, like what does the name mean, like what I'll be talking about and like what you can expect from this podcast. Yeah. So I actually always wanted to start a podcast or like a YouTube channel, but I don't have like video editing skills and I also like didn't have time. But now I have time and I do have yapping skills. So I was like, okay, I just got hip surgery and now I have all this free time. So why don't I just do a podcast? Like I can finally start on like one of like my childhood dreams, like something I've always wanted to do. And yeah, like the name chalanting. Okay, we got a lot to unpack here. So, like chalant, the word chalant or chalanting, okay, comes from nonchalant. And a lot of people like on the internet were like, okay, so if it's nonchalant, the opposite of nonchalant is chalant then. Like you take the non, right? And like that kind of means like, being expressive, like caring, like I gaff, right? Opposite of nonchalant. So therefore, chalanting is like the act of being chalant. And then in the first part, like CHA cha is like Chinese for tea. And they're, because we're gonna be sipping tea, spilling tea, like, and all this relates to me, of course, because like I'm the host. But like I'm Chinese. Okay, that's the first part. I love tea, like Molly Jasmine, like my favorite. I also love spilling tea, of course, and like I feel like, I don't know, love tea. And then I feel like I'm just a chalant girl. Like, I'm just a chalant girl. Like, I feel like my whole life I'm definitely not known for being a nonchalant person. Definitely very, like, big personality, very loud, very expressive. I don't know, just love to feel, love to gaff. Like, so I definitely wanted to, like, come up with a name that would encapsulate what the podcast is about, of course. So getting into that, what this podcast will be about. Honestly, the way I thought about this podcast is just putting everything, like all the thoughts and feelings in here and up here and just putting it like on the internet, like just making a voice memo of it. But another big part of it is like, I'm like a Asian American Studies sociology major, right? So everything connects back to society. And there's this thing in sociology called the sociological imagination. And it's like the foundation for sociology. And it's basically this idea of like your personal life is connected to public life or like society. So even things that you think are like individual, personal are actually all shaped by the world we live in and society. There's probably like a more academic way to say it, but like, so a lot of lifestyle podcasts that I felt that I was inspired by, like one of my favorites is like a Soju with Sarah. I recommend checking them out. It was pretty awesome. Very cozy sort of podcast. A lot of them I feel like don't really connect their personal lives to society, which makes sense because usually people like think of their personal lives as like personal, right, and individual. But one thing I love to do all the time is think about how relationships and like feelings and like personal stuff relate to society and how like they're so intertwined. Like everything in our lives is dictated by the society we live in, whether we think about it or not. So I definitely want to incorporate that, and that's like a big part that I wanted to add to the podcast. But yeah, definitely we'll be talking about just like, yeah, what's going on here, just like the feelings I had, the thoughts I have, what I learned, like advice, connecting that back to society. Honestly, just like whatever's on my mind. I feel like I'm always thinking up here, so I definitely wanted the opportunity to like bring that to like to life and like create something out of it, especially since it's something I love to do and I love to talk anyway. And I have all this time on my hands, so I might as well do it. But yeah, so chalanting pod, stay tuned, stay updated. I will be posting non-regularly because I'm just gonna try my best. Also, disclaimer, this is like my first time doing podcasting. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never edited before. I've never audio recorded before. So yeah, this is definitely not meant to be anything professional. This is not meant for Spotify. It's not meant for monetization. Just like personal project, unfiltered, probably unedited. We will see. But yeah, this is definitely something I want to be fun, not stressful. So stay tuned for what is going on. Final disclaimer is that I am a little bit nervous about this because it definitely is like, personal and vulnerable to like share these parts of yourself with people. especially since a lot like the yapping or things like that I usually keep up here or that like are within like, conversations with my friends. So it's only a vulnerable thing to like share this. But I also think it's like very freeing and very helpful to like share what I've learned or just share my thoughts, and like who knows, maybe that can help someone else out. Make people feel less alone, make people feel heard, right? Resonate. Like there was this moment when I was orientation leader and I shared about my freshman year, and she was incoming freshman, and she was so like relieved to hear that someone had gone through that and gone through the same thing. And yes, it was very vulnerable to share that, but she was like, wow, you just like addressed all of my fears and worries, and I feel like you just solved all my problems. And I was like, guys, I won. Like I won as an OL. And that was the moment I was like, oh my God, first of all, just get my paycheck right now, but also just like finding the joy in like sharing those things and having those conversations. And yeah, podcast isn't a conversation, but I guess it's what I can do when I'm away from my dear friends and loved ones. So yeah, I hope you follow along on the chalanting podcast, sip some tea with me, and yeah, we will have lots of fun chalanting.